Hello everyone, and welcome to the Daily HUD, where we give you the latest esports news. I'm Sierra.
And I'm Dom. In our coverage today, we're going to be looking at the new Alcatraz Battle Royale map in Black Ops 4, the Starcraft semifinals that happened just yesterday, Rainbow Six Pro League preview, a Call of Duty World League results, Overwatch update announcement, and to round out the show, we're going to be previewing the LEC Round 2 of playoffs.
So big news in the Battle Royale scene for Black Ops 4. A new map has been released and it changes the game entirely.
Now, with the new map, a new set of rules have come into play. Instead of a regular dropship jump, you're going to spawn into the map via randomly generated portals. The biggest difference in this map, respawns are now a thing. Instead of being downed and out for the game, you can respawn about 5 times before being fully out in this new map. The developers have also emphasized the strategy of locking someplace down, where you hold position and defend against other teams within a certain building. This map encourages close-range combat, and so far the changes to close range have been well received. The update is already out on PS4, but will be released on April 9th for PC and Xbox.
In the Starcraft world, the global Starcraft League Code S wrapped up their first round of the semifinals yesterday, with the Protoss Classic challenging the Zerg Dark. Though the Classic was an underdog, he seemed poised to take the series with some fast pace and early play against the Dark, going 3-1 in the first 4 games, but Dark managed to download Classic's game plan and evened up the series, tying things up at 3-3.
Now it all came down to one final ace match for the round. Classic returned to his aggression once again, but this time he tempered it with a 2-base Immortal Stalker push. Dark had the correct answer with a Roach Ravager defense, but it seemed as if Classic was emotionally attached to his units, as every single caustic bile that Dark fired was dodged by Classic's near impeccable footsies. Slowly but surely, Dark had to give up ground, first sacrificing his drones, then giving up his third, before finally making a desperate last stand at his natural that crumbled to the Stalker and Immortal assault. Classic takes the series 4-3. Now this is Classic's first GSL final in 4 years and 9 months, and it could very well be one of his last, considering his age and the incoming mandatory military service. In his post-game interview, he even seemed surprised that he won. He was very clearly prepared, but it seemed as though he wasn't quite ready to actually win. Now, his opponent will be determined on Saturday, when the current 3-time GSL champion Maru will take on the newcomer Trap, who's currently in his first top 4 GSL Code S finish ever. This match is set to begin on Saturday in Seoul at 1 p.m. Korea Standard, or on Friday, midnight Eastern Standard Time, though I always seem to get those 11:59 p.m.
That's
Friday
not
night.
correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Rainbow Six Siege Pro League. The European League returns this week, and the schedule looks full of action, and things are in fact heating up. As we're getting into the final weeks, all eyes will be on G2 Esports and Team Empire, with the league almost ending their regular season. The 2 finalists of the Invitational are expected to come out on top, but the other teams are looking to take that spot.
On Friday, April 5th, the day will start with Penta Sports taking on Team Empire. Then G2 are going to face off against Team Secret. At the end of the day, Mouse Sports will close it off against Lestream Sports. Lestream Sports, exactly. These matches will answer all questions heading to the end of this season. For the second day of the second cross-divisional matches, teams were looking to continue their win record, or in some cases bounce back from their respective losses. On the first match of the day, Optic Gaming took on Denial Esports. After Optic's victory in the last day, they looked to be the strongest team in the division, and with Denial Esports trying to jump back from their loss. Although this set was close, Optic Gaming closed it out with a 3-2 score.
After their 3-0 loss to 100 Thieves, Reciprocity are looking for the first win in the cross-divisional matchup. Team Reciprocity met Enigma 6 in the next match, and with both teams coming in strong, it was a pretty close set, with them taking it to the final game, and with Reciprocity pushing Enigma 6 up against the wall and kept them there for the remainder of the match, and took the series with a close 3-2 win.
Yeah, and now for our final match of the day, Gen G challenged Splice. After both of them winning their first match, they wanted to keep their own streaks rolling. Unlike the previous game, though, this match was a little more clean cut, and we had a winner in 4 games as compared to the previous 5, Splice taking their own 1 game. However, their opponents managed to take the set in a clear 3-1 victory, as Gen G move on to continue their own winning streak. Now, Call of Duty also returned today, and at 3 p.m., Gen G and Enigma 6 will open the final day of the cross cross-division matches. After that, we've got Midnight versus Denial going head-to-head, and closing things out, we've got 100 Thieves facing up against Optic. Now, a quick announcement for you Overwatch players. We have heard some news from Jeff Kaplan. About this time last year, there were 7 developer updates over the course of 2018. Since 2019, there's been a total of 1 developer update. However, Jeff Kaplan has taken to the forum saying, hey, we know we haven't been communicating a lot. Another one is filmed, so we'll be getting some more developer updates soon, hopefully within the next week or two, to keep us in tune to what the developers think of the competitive Overwatch meta. But again, take that with a grain of salt because that was filmed before people started getting unhappy, so we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, I honestly can't wait to hear it. But I mean, we're in month 4 of 2019 with only 1 release. I don't know. Do you think they're still going to be working on this game? It might still.
Yeah, they've been working on the patch notes for quite a bit. I mean, we've got phase 2 starting later this weekend, which we're going to talk about more in tomorrow's episode of the Daily HUD. But I'm still excited to see what the development team thinks of the GOAT meta overall and how they can spice it up. We've already seen a couple of changes.
The players want to see.
Exactly, yeah, especially with the pro scene starting to kick things back into gear. But that's not all of our news for today. We've also got to turn our attention towards Fortnite.
A little Fortnite teaser.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened on Twitter last night? I was confused. Was I supposed to be paying attention to Cloud9 or?
Well, it was a little bit of, for those of you who were tuned in to Twitter at about 2:30 p.m., 3 p.m. Eastern time, the Twitter account got hacked. Somebody managed to get in and get the password and started making some less than professional comments. And of course, as Twitter is wont to do, they immediately started retweeting and spreading it and sharing it out with as many people as possible. The individual in question posted a few comments redirecting to a certain individual called Cal086.
Cal086.
We don't know who that is. It could be the hacker. It could just be like a friend's account or something saying, hey, my friend Jim is cool. You should follow him.
Right.
When we first checked his account, he was at 7,000 followers.
Okay.
As of the time of filming, he's at 20,000 followers.
Oh,
so Fortnite has some pretty powerful sway in terms of affecting the community. And the thing that I thought that was most compelling was the Fortnite Twitter was currently logged in by the Fortnite social media manager.
Okay.
You could see the hacker posting things.
Okay.
And then you also saw updates like, check out this cool highlight play, and responses. So if you actually scrolled through the messages, it was a neat little back and forth of like, do we take this one? Is this one
Is this the
hacker?
professional one? Is this the hacker?
It seems to have been resolved though.
Maybe that password Fortnite 1234 didn't really work out for them.
Yeah,
They
maybe
should
a little bit
probably
more
change that
complicated
password.
than that.
Speaking of which, I guess I need to change my password.
Exactly.
Nobody hacked my account. That's Jen Sierra on Twitter.
Yeah, well maybe let's not share the username as well.
Oh no.
In other Fortnite news, Prince Harry. What are you doing, man?
Come on.
So Prince Harry ended up at he was at a YMCA earlier this morning. Well, I guess Britain time this morning, last night, whatever.
Okay.
He had some very disparaging comments about Fortnite, saying it was a video game created to addict its players, to keep them locked down in front of the TV, and ended up saying that perhaps he was going to end up banning it.
In the UK?
Yes.
So maybe that'll be a part of their Brexit package. As they,
well, I think they do still need to work on that just a little bit. So maybe let's focus on the larger political, socioeconomic scale of Brexit before we turn our attention to
esports,
Fortnite, yeah.
which is very fun.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But hey, that's still not all that we've got for you. Again, this is the Daily HUD. Today, we are going to talk about the LEC. The round 2 semifinals are starting tomorrow on Friday.
Right.
And you and I are going to have a discussion about what you folks at home can expect, because there's a lot to cover, there's a lot to go through. So why don't we dig right on into it?
Yeah, let's get started. So who are your top picks in the LEC?
Well, clearly the top 4 for the LEC have got my attention currently. You've got Fnatic versus Splice, which is happening tomorrow, and then the day after on Saturday, you've got G2 versus Origin. And the Fnatic versus Splice matchup looks like it is going to be remarkably compelling. Fnatic have got a playoff buff right now. They always seem to get the playoff buff. It's Fnatic. They've been in the league for years at this point. They've got world championship skins. This is one of the oldest and most prestigious organizations. So if anyone is going to see success, it is Fnatic. But that being said, it is the LEC coming from the LPL, coming from the North American LCS. anything can happen.
Anything
in
can
the
happen,
LEC.
and they've given themselves away a little bit. Fnatic,
yeah.
right? So we kind of know what angle they're going to be in this game. Could we predict what might be banned for them? I mean, they seem to have pretty powerful players.
So in the last set that Fnatic played, they ended up going 3-1, but when it came to match point the second time, they brought out Kayle for Nemesis, which has a lot of people interested. Kayle is turning a bunch of heads right now with her scaling and her potential in the mid and late game. But it turns into sort of a mind game scenario. This is only round 2. If Fnatic want to make it to the finals, they have to beat Splyce. Then they also have to beat the loser of G2 Origin, and then they go to finals. So they still have 3 best-of-5s that they need to get through if they want to win the whole thing. So
do you think Splyce is just going to put a blockade on that Kayle and not let them access her at all, or what?
That's kind of the mind games, right? Because if Fnatic show their hand and say, hey, we've got this Kayle, we can play it, then Splyce has incentive to ban it. However, Fnatic could just not play it. And it's up to Splyce to say, okay, we know this is a thing that you can do. We have seen it be very effective. We are forced into the position where we have to ban it. But then that gets into the mind games for Fnatic because they say, we were never going to play it in the first place. Now you're just wasting this ban over and over.
And possibly wasting time trying to prepare
for
them.
Whereas Fnatic could already be looking for the next big thing, whatever that may be. So that, again, looks to be a very exciting matchup. And again, the structure of the tournament, we have to talk about this because it is so cool. I love how the LEC has created this unique structure of the Juggernaut match. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the structure, the format is first and second place from the regular season are seeded into sort of semifinals. The winner of that matchup goes straight to the finals. The loser drops into sort of a loser's qualifying bracket where the remaining teams have played their way up to that finals. So there's still an opportunity for the loser
to get into
the first second. But so often in esports, you have these stories where you have magnificent rivalries, TSM CLG, Edward Gaming, and literally any other team in the LPL, where it's this long historied story, and during the regular season, 10 weeks of play, they only play together once or maybe twice, so you only get that one little preview. They both advance into playoffs in first and second place, but then they end up on opposite sides of the bracket, and one of the teams gets eliminated. Or maybe they're on the same side of the bracket, and one of them drops in semifinals. This way, we get a preview of what's the best versus the best. And if they truly are the best, they both seed into the finals, and you get a rematch that adds to the rivalry even more. So it adds so much more narrative stakes that makes the match that much more compelling.
I'm really anticipating that game. It'll be very interesting to see because we had that first and second place, and now they might be able to reface each other once again.
But again, that comes down to whether or not the loser of that game can beat the winner of Fnatic versus Splyce. Personally, and again, this is my opinion, take this with a grain of salt, my money's on Fnatic. They've got the playoff buff, they're the organization, the more historied organization. They've got Reckless, again, they have that Kayle factor, bringing in sort of a wild card in the background. I do expect to see Fnatic advance to that loser's bracket, but turning our attention to G2 Origin, it really could be anybody's game. My personal opinion is that I'm expecting to see G2 advance to the finals and Origin drop down to play against Fnatic, just off of the expertise of the players. You've got Caps, Jankos, and Perks who have been doing such a great job, and the experience that Perks brings, the
versatility.
Exactly, the raw aggression that Caps can provide, though it will be sort of a toss-up against Nuke Duck, could provide a lot of openings against Origin, but in my head, I see G2 going to the finals, and I see the Fnatic versus Origin matchup, which that I think should be a lot more compelling as well.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you for that insight.
Of course.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. So that'll be something that we're definitely looking forward to.
Yeah, that's tomorrow. The matches start tomorrow. Of course, the Juggernaut match will happen on Saturday, and from there you will have the final determining seed next week to seed into the finals against the winner of the Juggernaut match, and the grand finals for the LEC, I want to say, are on Sunday. But for more information, head on over to lolesports.com. But hey, that's going to be our analysis for the EU LEC. Thank you so much for tuning in. That's it for today's coverage of the Daily HUD. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for the latest updates
Smash
in esports.
that like button.
Yeah, once again, I'm Dom.
I'm Sierra. On behalf of myself and the entire esports channel, we wish you good night and GG.